I find with AI, it's not so much a skill of prompting, it's how you use it in the workflow, how you're using it in your day to day. It's the zooming out and looking at that big picture. So when it comes to business and life, I'm thinking about what that means for me. How am I going about that? And I'll explain that to a conversation in GPT, and it'll help me figure things out. So at the very least, it's a sounding board that I use it
Mm,
for. At the very most, it's an assistant that helps me go through the paces of both design, decision making, and also generating part of my creative work as well. It really is infused in a lot of what I do, from life, business. It's a really useful uh, enhancement to have in general.
so how much are you using it? Like how many times a day are you checking in with generative intelligence?
I think I'm an addict in that case. I'm constantly got it open. I think you can use it for almost anything really, anything that you need to think through as a problem. It's fantastic. Like I say, I've always got that GPT window open, and I'll be copy and pasting bits of information into it um, every day. It's actually quite hard to tell you how many times because it just seems consistently infused in stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah. So in other words, it's you're augmented now. It's now kind of like wired in.
I'm
Yeah.
I
Uh-huh.
think alongside it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Rick Kurzweil, I love that term, extended neocortex. You're already starting there, huh? What are a couple of things? So, I mean, you've already said some really fascinating stuff here. I thought it was really a good way to look at this. That it's not just about prompting, but how you use it in your workflow. It's like redesigning and architecting how you work.
I'd say so. It, it's metacognisance. It's thinking about thinking. I think that's the main skill when it comes to using AI in anything that you're doing with it, really. It's not so much, okay, I'm gonna template this prompt in such a way and it's gonna get me that result. I think it's more about zooming out from the problem. Instead of being a designer or a storyteller that would get in and sketch the storyboard exactly. Now I'm thinking about the storyboard or the design of the vehicle from a direction point of view, like a creative director. What are the challenges that I see? How can I tackle that? That's the skill that I've found so far in this journey. That's as you pointed out, evolving quickly.
Mm-hmm.
To be the main one, actually. Thinking about thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And at this point, right, this whole concept that it's designed to do the things that would normally be repetitive or boring or but that it also can do all this creative stuff. It's like we all have to become creative directors. We all have to become visionaries now because now it's about knowing what you want and then using this to kind of accelerate your pace of the creation of it. Yeah?
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself, really. It's the curation skill, the something that I would say to students more specifically, any creative student that's in that endeavor, because it's a very competitive realm to be in, to go into storytelling and cinema and film or automotive design. They're very competitive realms to be in. And so the critical eye, the design eye, um, has to be top notch. Now we've got this tool that is helping people to get almost seemingly to this elevated level quite quick. You can write a sentence. Most people can write a pretty good sentence and get a pretty good result back. And I think that worries a lot of people. But the the main skill to keep in mind for the students listening, because I'm sure that they're maybe a bit disheartened, is the critical eye for curation, the fundamentals of aesthetics, composition, color theory. Although there is a machine learning algorithm that is getting very good at that, style is going to become more and more important as we move into this. So it's very important that you know how to leverage those things. You know what you're looking at, basically, so that your style and you and the creative you are shines through despite this algorithm that you use it. Because we can see when it hasn't been done well. Yeah, there is a bad way of using AI as well as a good way.
Yeah, exactly. Steve Jobs he was always talking about art and artistry and quoting artists and, saying to steal like an artist and so forth. Because he was an artist. He was an absolute artist. And most people don't really think through the fact that, Steve wasn't programming the computers. Steve wasn't drawing the designs. Steve wasn't writing the marketing. But he had a strategic vision. And then he would go and find all the best talent, and he would look at what they were doing and saying, yes, more of that. He really got that style and taste, that's what this is about. And that so he was doing this 20, 30, 40 years ago, except he didn't have AI. He just had, the best in the world.
He had, like you say, he had the best talent in the world doing it for him. I think now we've all got a certain level of talent in our pockets with this AI. Mid Journey, for me, when I first saw it, like I think it's just over a year ago now, blew me away. Really did.
Absolutely.
And I look at it now, and it's I would go as far to say it's pretty rubbish from like back then. And I'm using the most recent versions now, and it still blows me away the way that it keeps outdoing itself.
Yeah.
Each and every time. So the visual impact, I don't think that's something that you need to spend a lot of your skill energy on, if that makes sense. It is the zooming out, and you're best suited now having all these AIs do these things for you, but it's your vision and it's your strategy, and you're directing this I don't want to call it a team, and I'll get onto that later, but it does feel like these tools that we're using have a brain, and so that's something to weigh up as you use them and get them to work together.
That's a great insight. The tools now have a brain. When I teach the generative AI, the way I try to get it across, the best I've been able to come up with is, right, we haven't created artificial intelligence, we've created a digital mind. We've actually created something that is a mind, and even further, it's a mind emulator. You can have it emulate as many minds as you can. Somehow that metaphor, but I really like that. The tools now have a brain. Each tool has a brain of its own. It's like in crypto, it goes from a token to a smart contract. It's like programmable money. It's a whole other level. And to speak to what you're talking about here with design, it's like now the thing to develop is the style and the sense of taste and the sense of aesthetic value, right? That's what to develop in ourselves.